I'm Dr. Hermans. Dr. Oriot is over there. Thank you very much. So the purpose of this study was to not only to derive a new equation, but also to show if we could use the average glucose as a substitute for lab-measured HbA1c, especially for those type 1 patients in which we increasingly wonder whether we still need to do a blood test, given that there is an equation providing HbA1c. The problem being that the current equation which is provided with the FreeStyle Libre is the Nathan equation, which was based on a mix of type 1, type 2, and NGT patients who were not doing a FreeStyle Libre system. Some of them were on capillary measures, some of them were on discontinuous, continuous. And this is why we wanted to reanalyze the whole thing using a representative cohort of type 1 diabetes with long duration of diabetes, not well controlled. This is to average type 1 diabetic patients. What we did was to analyze on 2 occasions, a 3-month period, at the end of which there was an HbA1c measured by the same lab reference, central lab, and we took 3-month period twice, and using complicated stats for which we haven't put all of them there. They are referenced in the number 3. The DR methodology is extremely lengthy and complicated, believe me, but what it does is to decide 3 things. Is the test measuring the same thing as another test, pretending to do this step? Second, which test is better? And third, can we derive an unbiased line of equivalence? So it is extremely well designed to do this type of work. So what we did was to analyze the underlying between and within subject standard deviation. Forget about the statistics. The higher the discrimination ratio, the better your test is to rank patient according to the variable of interest, in which case this is glucose. So what we show is that 3 months average interstitial glucose measured by FreeStyle, and of course those patients had a very good recording data, otherwise they wouldn't be admitted, 92% of coverage, and actually 3 months glucose is superior to lab-measured HbA1c to rank patient according to their glucose, which is not exactly surprising, but that superiority is statistically significant. And that's very important if you want to no longer rely at each visit on a blood test to check their HbA1c. Then the second thing was to see, based on that, if we could derive a new equation which would be better than the one of Nathan. That's exactly what we did here. You see that the one of Nathan first doesn't cross the line of unity, which is odd because it's supposed to measure the same thing. So using our new equation, not only it is less skewed, but also it crosses almost the line of unity. And we check that on the same patients using their measures. So using Nathan's equation, the strict equivalence was only found in 7% of patients, and we more than double that with the new equation. So that's strict equivalence, 2.1% of HbA1c. Of course, you don't need to be that strict, but if you go into the hyperglycating mode or the hypoglycating mode, what you see is that Nathan equation was not well balanced. Normally, you should have an equal spread, an even spread of hyperglycating and hypoglycating patients. And what we get here is that the spread is much more symmetrical. And also, the third thing which is not developed here is that they actually measured exactly the same thing once you take into account attenuation, which is the vibration of each patient compared to himself and compared to his group. This would be a very long mathematical development. The only thing to remember is that if you use that equation, you will more than double the perfect concordance rate of your patient, and you will have less spread of those patients. For those patients who are discordant with the lab, this is probably a biochemical issue. They are hyperglycating the HbA1c or they are hypoglycating the HbA1c. Fortunately, it's a minority. Let's say on average, 10% of patients are quite discordant using that method. Thank you.